Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo, with your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Big thank you to everyone out there, as always, for watching and for listening, for following and subscribing. I appreciate you guys very much. This is a holiday week. Still going to have a show every day this week. Thursday and Friday will be audio only. So if you have not yet subscribed on like Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts and you want to get all the shows, make sure that you do that as well. Even if you typically watch this on YouTube. I'm joined now, as always, on Sunday nights, usually Bills post games, but the Bills are on a bye this week. We are live, by the way, on the video side anyway. So we're streaming this live if you happen to be around. Joe from Queens. By the way, if you are watching this on the video side, that is a pretty dope hoodie, man. Nice Andre the Giant hoodie. I'm a little bit envious of that. I love that hoodie, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I got too many of these hoodies, but you know what? I don't really care because I do I do splurge on stuff that's corny, because now that I'm married, I don't have to like be embarrassed by like wrestling gear. I could be like, you know what? You love me. You're here till the end of time. I'm going to go buy like 8 wrestling hoodies. I have like 8 wrestling hoodies from this place that's like incredibly overpriced.
Plug
but
that
I'm
place.
like,
they got really good shit, man. It's Roots of
Fight. It's what it's called.
Really
but
cool.
They have a lot of wrestling stuff, but they also have some sports stuff, like individual players they have. So like if you like Carmelo Anthony, he has like a wardrobe line there or whatever. I think Garnett has some stuff. Some football players do as well. And so it's a cool stuff. But anyways,
what's the beer of the week, man? What are you about to crack there as we get going here?
Well, I'm trying to stall because I'm trying to retweet our thing because you did not tell me that you were going live, and I like completely forgot because I don't go on Twitter anymore. I don't care about Twitter, and that's why I have to retweet this. So I'm gonna waste time and just retweet it. Okay, I finally retweeted you. Okay, so I've had this 100 times on this podcast. It's the Heavy Topper. If everyone can hear, it's from Vermont. It's how many percentage? I've said this before, but I'll say it again. 8% alcohol. It's an IPA, which, as we all know, Pat hates IPAs because he's a loser, and he likes, I don't know, cherry wheat beer or something like that.
I had some of those Saturday.
What was it? Sam Adams again?
Sam Adams, cherry wheat. Yeah, and that's still my go-to beer.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post. No, your Twitter or whatever, one of those posts. You almost went to a strip club on Saturday night, or what happened? What happened? I want to hear this story. This is much better than the bye week. If I could hear a strip club story.
I put up a meme. It was from the movie Casino when Joe Pesci is forced down and held, his head's held up, and they watch him beat to death his brother. I put up a meme. I put that up and said, that's my friends making me go to the strip club after drinking for 12 hours on a limo bus on Saturday. We're going to talk today, Buffalo Bills bye week, like final reflections as we get cooking. The season's about ready to get going again for the Bills. I kind of want to reflect one last time on the bye week. We're going to talk a little bit of Sabres later on in the show as well. The Sabres have been red hot. Got a new segment that we're going to debut today called Mount Flushmore, not Mount Rushmore, Mount Flushmore, the worst of things.
Didn't we do Flushmore before?
We might have done it. You know what?
We did do it once. So we did it once.
Newish.
I forgot what it was though. What we did. It was it Media People, but I don't.
No, it wasn't Media People. It was something with TV shows or something like that. But yeah, so we did do it once. We haven't done it in a long time. So for at least for newer people, that's going to be new. So that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show. And I do want to thank today's sponsor, Sunny Reds, Abbott Road, just minutes away from Highmark Stadium, the most underrated place to go to for food. And I mean that in all of Western New York. Great vibe. I absolutely love that place. They are a supporter of the show. So if you guys are out and about around Orchard Park, Lackawanna area, make sure you go support them as well.
Cool. Hey, I'm by the way, I was gonna say something, but then you were like, before we talk, we have to get to the Bill stuff right away. We can't lillygag too much, and I'm about to lillygag a little bit. I will be up for Christmas, like I think the 25th to the 29th, 30th.
Really?
So we should plan a remote somewhere.
Definitely.
I know you don't care about me like you care about Skursky and all the and the 25 sales. Like you want to go and take them out in the town and Wingfest 2000 and me. You'll throw me at some bar with Bud Lights and be like, "Yeah, we got 10 minutes here, buddy. Hurry up." But yes,
No, we'll hook up, man. We'll do a live show. So
right.
maybe we'll do one at Sunny Reds. Love
Yeah,
going to that place. So
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out. Yeah,
sure.
we've got some things we're going to talk about. Like I said, we'll save that for later in the show. But yeah, I did on Saturday. Shout out Buffalo, man. My buddy Tony comes into town a couple times a year. He lives in Texas, and
Wow.
I don't want to hype him up too much. Let's just say, put it this way: he gets a limo bus for a group of 20 of us and takes care of it all himself. So let's just say that he's in the
Wow.
position that he can roll like that. And usually we go, it used to be called the Festival of Friendship. This year, because we did it before Thanksgiving, it was the Festival of Friendsgiving. And usually we'll go down like to Ellicottville or somewhere on the outer skirts away from Western New York. But this year we kind of stuck to the town. And we
Mm,
went to a handful of really cool places. New York Bear Project. I know you've been to the one at Lockport. You like that
sure.
place. I went to the newer one in Orchard Park here downtown at Hoffer House, 40 Thieves, a couple other places. It was a really good time, man.
Awesome.
Well, I don't, I live here, but I don't really go to cool spots often. Like I have my one or two divey spots that I like to go out to when I do go out. I don't really get out on the town often, so that was a lot of fun, man.
You always get out on the town. Every week you're like hungover on Sunday.
Yeah, but it's from the same two or three places, though. But it's from the same two or three places. That's the
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
difference. But anyway, yeah, that was a really good time. I'm giving you 2 weeks. You got to watch Cobra Kai. You've been watching the series. I'm dying to talk about
I
it.
know. I'm
And
sorry. I will. I mean, we didn't talk about last season. We should have talked about that before because that was,
sure,
all I have to say is about the season before. I have no idea how John Kreese is still like he didn't go to jail or like he's just like, oh yeah, I'm just teaching karate in Japan. It's like you broke out of jail. Like shouldn't like immigration or someone, I don't know, get on the phone and like get you in jail. That was like the thing I couldn't understand at all. And yeah,
I
we'll
got some strong takes on this last batch. So they released 5 more. This was part 2 of the final season, and they still got 5 more to go. I
so
don't know
stupid.
where the hell they're going to go with it. I got some really strong takes on it, but I'm going to give you a couple weeks till
I
you get a
will.
chance to
Like
watch it.
we're
It's 5
doing.
episodes, so
I will. We're watching Agatha on Disney Plus. I know you don't really care about Marvel. Or you kind of do. You fake it a
sort of.
little bit. You fake it
It's
for
fallen off for me now that certain characters are
Agatha.
gone.
Agatha's very good. Did you watch WandaVision at all?
Yes,
Okay, did you like WandaVision or no?
yes, I did like it.
Agatha's good. It's her. Like it's the villain. It was really good. I think you would enjoy it. It's kind of very steadily. It's very good in comparison to what they've had, which has been very mid for the
Mhm.
most part since Avenger or since the end of Avengers or whatever. I would watch it. Recommend it. So
Do you
but
have? I'll check that out. Do you have any Thanksgiving plans? Just chilling at home with the fam? Is that what you're
no.
doing this year?
Well, we're going to my brother-in-law's house. We're going to my brother-in-law's house. My wife's mom and stepdad are going to be there. We're going to bring the kid there. We're doing a brunch earlier at a friend's house who's doing like a kind of a potluck. Everyone's bringing their own shit thing.
Yeah.
And my wife's doing something. I don't know what the fuck she's making, but she's making something. That's it. I mean, I'm just ready for like wrestling. I'm ready for Survivor Series on Saturday. That's going to be kick ass.
Yeah.
And the Bills play San Fran next week. But yeah, that's all we got going. We are trying to go real quick and then we can get to the Bills. If anyone's listening to this, we are trying to go to the Caribbean or Mexico in January, and we're trying to find a family-friendly resort that that has babysitting for like kids under 2. So like they'll come and babysit or whatever the fuck. So if anyone out there has any suggestions, and look, I'm not like Pat who likes garbage food. No, Pat likes good food, but I want like steaks where Pat wants wings and pub food.
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. He wants to just get fat, and I want to get fat too, but I want to be like bougie about being fat. Anyways, if anyone has recommendations that they've gone with their kids and like they got babysitting and everything, let us know because we're trying to figure this out because I want a little bit of like a break and like and have a fucking Bloody Mary or whatever the hell they drink down in the Caribbean. Actually, Bloody Mary, they don't drink down there. But anyone has suggestions, type it on the chat box or just DM me or someone on Blue Sky or Twitter. I don't care. because we need to figure this out because I'm going away for my birthday, and like this is very important. We have to have this so we can get away from the kid and leave him with someone, and they can like throw him in a river like Moses and put him down the slide or something. I don't know, but like yeah. So if anyone has recommendations, all right, let's talk about the Bills. What's going on with the Bills? Yeah.
All right. Well, this was obviously the end of the bye week for the Buffalo Bills. They are 9-2 in the complete driver's seat in the AFC East, and are real correct now at the number 1 seed. We'll talk about a couple other teams around the league who did play. So the Bills did not play today. Kind of it's not even that weird to me when the Bills don't play on Sunday anymore because they play so many primetime games now, like on Monday night and Thursday night. I've kind of gotten used to the Bills not really playing on Sunday. It was nice in a way to just relax and not have any stress with the NFL. Got a lot of stuff done. Some laundry went out, things around the house. But anyway, I've kind of spent a lot of time this week just reflecting on the Bills with this being their bye week and not really thinking about their next opponent. We'll start doing that this coming week, of course. But just reflecting on this team, Joe, what is like your biggest takeaway right now? Again, having a lot of time to really, because usually when you come on the show with me, it's an hour, maybe a couple hours after they play a game, and we spend the majority of the time talking about that game. No game to talk about this week. Just what are like your biggest takeaways right now? What stands out to you with the Bills? What are like your biggest surprises, if any, with this team right now? What are you feeling?
I think the biggest surprise is as just how good the younger guys have been, for them, like unproven guys. And like we've talked about this before, but we'll talk about it again. We know who the veterans were that left here last year. And like, yeah, some of them were off a cliff and they should have moved on from heck. You could make the case that some of them, they should have moved on earlier. And I never had an issue with like moving on from most of them aside from Diggs and Morris, but I had issues with who were going to be their replacements because it was unknowns galore and like they're moving people from like guard to center. And it just felt like, I don't know about this. And it's been pretty seamless for the most part. I would say the safety play has been pretty good with Rapp and Hamlin have been good back there. I'm shocked by that. These are two guys who last year did not play at all, really. And like when I say they don't play it out, they didn't even dress in certain cases. Like they were just fucking getting the pre-game buffet bar.
Well, had Hyde and Boyer last year.
But still,
Rapp played some at the end of the season, but Hamlin was literally a complete non-factor for the Bills all of last year. Of course.
It was out of sight, out of mind for those two guys. But they've been surprising. I would say Shakir has been kind of surprising for me, just how good he is in terms of like his run after the catch, the yak yards, and what he's done. Like that's really surprised me how good he is. I mean, I kind of was like, we'll see what happens, but he's pound for pound, he's a gamer, and that's been surprising. And look, the biggest surprise, they're 9-2, and for the most part, they have beaten teams pretty convincingly, for all this season. I mean, aside from those 2 games,
sure,
but they've won 6 in a row, and I really feel like it's funny. It's like I don't even think they're the best team of like their teams, like since Josh Allen got good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the 2022 team was better, like in terms of talent wise and what they had, or 2020, with Josh Allen's first year. But, maybe here it's just they have more balance throughout, that there's not that many weaknesses. They don't have stars aside from Josh Allen, obviously, like who's making, like if the Pro Bowl mattered, the Pro Bowl hasn't mattered forever, but let's just say it didn't matter and we didn't have like 16 freaking alternates like they do now, but like when we were kids, like how many are going to the Pro Bowl?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Like legit.
Let's play that game right now. Let's pretend. I like this. That's a good topic.
This
is fun. Let's say, just for the sake of discussion right now, there's a Pro Bowl. No alternates. You're either your first team, your second team. You're making the Pro Bowl for the AFC.
The old school. Does matter. Like it matters. Yeah, 90s. Yeah.
Who makes the Pro Bowl for the Bills? All right, we'll start on the offensive side. Josh Allen's a lock. He's making the Pro Bowl for sure. James Cook's got 10 touchdowns. He might be up there. This is tough because, again, we're kind of going in real time, so I would have to go through.
We got Derek. Well, let's look at who's a better running back. Derrick Henry's definitely going.
Yeah, Henry's there for sure.
He's Henry. And I think it was 4 running backs back in the day. So it's like Derrick Henry's going. And then
Nobody else in the East.
Jonathan Taylor maybe is Jonathan
He's
Taylor.
been hurt. No, he's been hurt.
No, he's been
missed time.
hurt. Okay.
Mixon has missed time.
Mixon been okay. Yeah.
The Chargers, they got that. Who the hell's the running back for the Chargers?
Dobbins. Yeah, the guy from the Ravens that they got.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through. I'm going through the rushing leaders right now.
Good for you.
Henry's there. Yeah, there's a lot of holy shit. They're all NFC guys, man.
Right.
Yeah, Joe Mixon's second in the AFC in rushing.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'd say I put him there. Dobbins is 3. I'd probably, you know what? James Cook would be 4.
Where's Cook ranked for rushing yards?
Not that high. He's only 20th in the NFL in rushing yards.
Okay.
But again, he has also scored 10 touchdowns, which is tied for second most in the NFL. You know what? I'm going to give him that nod. So he's going to make the Pro Bowl. Right. Deion Dawkins is going to make the Pro Bowl. He's done it multiple times, and the offense is good. So
he does have if we're doing like Pro Bowl, he does have a lot of penalties this year, though. Deion Dawkins, just FYI, he's been good, but he's been penalized a lot. I think he's got like 9 or 10 penalties, which is kind of interesting. But
yeah,
okay, but sure,
yeah. So we'll say those 3 guys on offense. I think there's guys who could deserve consideration. Spencer Brown would deserve consideration. Connor McGovern might deserve some consideration, but Creed Humphrey, the Chiefs center, is always going to be the first team Pro Bowler. Those are guys that I would consider. But I would say Cook, Dawkins, Josh on the offense. Defensively, I would say Groot is a lock. Groot is absolutely a Pro Bowler this season.
Benford
should absolutely deserves it. So Benford and
2.
maybe Bernard.
He's been hurt too.
Bernard's been great. Yeah, he's missed 3 games. But still, he's played in 8 and he's been a difference maker. Taron Johnson's missed 4 games, but this dude is, he won the Bills a game against the Jets. He had a pick 6 against Indy, and he's a first-team All-Pro quarter. You know what, Taron Johnson, you're a Pro Bowler. So I got Taron Johnson, Groot for sure on defense, and Benford. So that's 3.
3 and 3. So 6.
Bernard might be in consideration. So I think you got 6 solid Pro Bowlers right now on this team. Bernard and Spencer Brown could make it as many as 8.
Okay. So to go back to my initial point, like how many guys, like if you were to bring up the 2022 Bills, and I thought that was like the most top talented team they had, and that was like before Von Miller was a Pro Bowl caliber player before he got hurt. You had Poyer, who was all pro that year.
Hyde.
And then Hyde got hurt. And then you had Trey White, who was like, you can make.
He got hurt that year. He was an all-pro player until he got hurt. Milano was an all-pro.
Yeah, Milano. You could have,
sure.
Yeah, so like
Diggs,
Diggs, Mitch Morris, you can probably say was a Pro Bowl, or at least 1 or 2 different. Like again, we're going by like the old school Pro Bowl, not the freaking like Charles Hundley's starting at quarterback.
I didn't believe your statement at first, but as we kind of talked through that, and we just ran off guys in 2022, what they were in 2022 on paper. Yeah, I would say the Bills are actually better on paper in 2022.
The thing I will say, like the 2 things that I think they were worse at from like those 2020, like that 3-year period, I felt like they were really good from 2020 to 2022. I felt they were really good. Last year, I don't know. They were 6-6 and they went on a run. I wasn't really that convinced last year. Like they got their offensive coordinator fired. Like I don't think it was as amazing as I kind of got perceived as. But like the thing they're better at now than they was from those 3 years I just mentioned, running the football, and I think pass rush. Like they're better at getting after the quarterback. Because back then, you had Hughes was all right, but then you had like Addison, and then like a platoon of other guys, and like you had Ed Oliver who was kind of in and out. But like I thought the defensive line now is much better, and they're getting pressure on the quarterbacks more than they did it during that juncture. The linebackers were better then because I think Milano, Tremaine Edmonds are better than Bernard and like Williams as of right now. I think they are.
I forgot about Tremaine. I forgot about Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how he's doing in Chicago. That guy.
He's been good. Statistically, he's been good. I mean, they're mediocre. He's doing what he did in Buffalo. He's put up stat numbers, but
and the second, and I think the secondary. Look, I think the secondary is really good right now, but I think it was better then. Like 2020, when you had Poyer, Hyde, and Trey White in their prime, you still had Taron Johnson. Then you had guys in your prime. So like I think like defensive line running the football, I think they were better. So today, so I just feel like maybe they have it's a very balanced team. They're not amazing aside from Josh Allen to me. Like Josh Allen's amazing. Everyone else it's solid and good. You know what I mean? Role guys. That's kind of how I feel about them right now. Like they have a lot. They don't have that many holes. They have really good depth right now, which is fucking shocking. I didn't think that was going to happen this year.
If I were to ask you, I'd be like, all right, so we're 11 games in now. Hey, Joe, or to anybody who's watching or listening to the show right now, and I said, what is the sore spot of the Buffalo Bills? What is their glaring weakness? I don't think they have one. That's not to say that every position is a complete strength, but I don't think they have any glaring weaknesses. I would have said safety 5 weeks ago, but Taylor Rapp has played much better. He's got 2 interceptions. DeMar's made a couple plays. He's not killing you, and he's getting more comfortable being active as opposed to just being nothing more than that last line of defense. So as much as I want to say safeties has been the glaring weakness, I really don't think they've been that much of a weakness on this team. Maybe you could say Tyler Bass because he's missed 4 extra points and stuff like that. But, I mean, he kind of kicking a 61-yard field goal to literally win a football game at the very end kind of redeems the missed kicks because it hasn't cost the Bills at all this season. I just don't think they have any real holes, and the depth has been way better than I expected it to be.
I think they still have weaknesses in stopping the run. And I think, and I've said this before, that's my biggest concern. And they're lucky they're in a league where that it's a passing league. Everyone wants to pass. Even last week, look, the Chiefs could have ran the ball probably a little bit more. Even Andy Reid said that, like, we could have ran the ball more. Like, they averaged like 4.5 yards a carry or something like that, but they didn't run the ball all that much. Their offense was fine in that game. I think the biggest issue for the Chiefs last week was their defense just didn't show up, it seemed like. That's still a concern for me. I think they're not good. I've said this for the last couple of years. If you spread the Bills out, their defense, and you try to run on them, like out of 3-4 wide receiver sets, you're going to have success against them. But I think, as I said, that's not what a lot of teams want to do. They want to throw. They want to go to their bread and butter, and that I think is the weakness in the defense. Offensively, I still have concerns about the deep ball and like over the top stuff. I'm still a little bit worried about that at times. I mean, I still need to see Amari Cooper play more. Like, obviously last week he was on a pitch count. When he's not on the pitch count, which he shouldn't be against San Fran, I'm assuming, I like to see a little bit of that. I'm not talking like 60-yard bombs. Like, give me like 15, 20 yards in the air throws. Like, that's a little bit. They haven't really done it all that much. Like, I don't have Josh Allen's stats in front of me, but I know he hasn't been as good of a deep passer as he was in the past. I'll say this, though, and I tweeted this out. I'm going to waste some time here, sadly, but I don't say tweet it out. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm on the Blue.
Did you blew it out? What would we call when you send something on? Is it a post? Is it
it's something
a bluey?
Yeah, a bluey.
That's corny, but
so
what was your bluey?
My bluey. I'm so terrible. I did Josh Allen's numbers after 11 games since 2021. So let me just tell you, this is his first 11 games from 2021, 22, 23, and this year. So he is right now for yardage. He has 2,543 yards this year. Last year, he had 2,875 yards through 11 games. 2021, he had 2022, 3,183 yards. 3,771. I'm mixing all these up. My apologies. In 2021, basically, this is the fewest yards he's had passing since through 11 games since 2019. And then passing touchdowns, he's got 18 touchdowns this year, and I think it's an interception rate of 1.5%. He had 25 touchdowns in 2021 after 11 games. 23 touchdowns in 2022, and 22 touchdowns last year through passing. This year, 18. So, like, it's amazing. Like, we're talking about him being like an MVP candidate, but he's the front
runner right now. He's the betting favorite in Vegas to win MVP.
But all of his numbers are down in comparison to what he's done. If we're just going through 11 games, like, they're all down. And my apologies to everyone. I'm not the best reader in the world.
You're right.
But like all of his stats, all the way aside from turnovers and interceptions, they're all down, and they're all down aside from that, which is just, and I'm not being like, oh my God, like he's overrated or whatever, but like, it's just amazing to me that this is where that's how much it matters for your record. You know what I mean? Like they're 9-2 and they were 9-2 during this is the best start in since the Super Bowl era. That matters. You know what I mean? Like if your record's good, it matters a ton. Yeah, it should matter a ton. That's how you become an MVP. If they're 6-4, like no one gives a shit, or no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, he's an MVP candidate. 9-2, like go to town. You know what I mean? So
I want to pull up a comment. Alex Barber leaves a comment, and I couldn't agree more with this. And you're right about the stats. He says biggest differences this year from past years is Allen's improved decision making. That is true. So statistically, he's down, but intelligence-wise, mentally, it feels like he understands the game now more than he ever has. He sees things now that he didn't see before. The turnovers is a big deal, and those are way down. And I also think that he's not forcing nowhere near that Houston game. He was forcing everything, but that game aside, he's not forcing a lot of passes. He did that a lot with Stephon Diggs and with Gabe Davis because he really wanted to get those guys going. It kind of doesn't feel like there's any, one player that we got to get going each week. And he's kind of taking what the defense is giving him more than he has. So I do agree statistically. And part of that is because they are running the ball more this year, even though Cook's got less rushing yards this year than he did at this time last year as well. He's just finding the end zone. It's just a more balanced attack. And I feel like Tom Brady used to say he got to a point in the career where he saw everything. Like there was nothing that would surprise him. He's seen it all. I kind of feel like that's where we're at with Josh Allen right now. I just feel like mentally he's completely on top of his game. He's making very few stupid mistakes. I mean, he still makes some. And when you got a guy who plays football the way he does, he's going to always force some things here and there, but it just feels like that's a lot less this year. It just feels like mentally he's just got the game.
But
down.
I never cared about his turnovers. I just didn't. I was just like, that's part of what made him aggressive. That's why he had more yards. And I wonder if he was more aggressive, would his yardage total be up more? Probably. And even I looked this up too, like rushing yards in that 4-year stretch I just went through 11 games. It's the second fewest that they've had rushing yards. It's the second fewest. They had more rushing yards through 11 games last year. And even in 2022, they had more rushing yards, which is like, I don't even remember them rushing all that much. But I think the big thing is like he hasn't ran that much this year in comparison to the last couple of years. He's still not rushing as much as he used to. Like you used to have him in for at least 40 to 60 yards in those games. And now he's he did it last week with the Chiefs a little bit, but he's not rushing. But it's just, like I said, it's just amazing. Like, the record is what the record is. And I think that's why he's being talked about more as an MVP candidate. But it's just crazy. Like his like those numbers are all lower than they've been.
Although the everybody eats motto could be a little corny and overstated a little bit here and there. You look in the last couple of years, you've had Stephon Diggs, and he was your horse. And if Josh and him weren't on the same page for whatever reason, there would be issues. And you look at this year, like right now, Shakir's got 56 catches, which, by the way, he's on pace for 80-some catches, so he's having a big year. But after that, Kincaid's got 34, Cook 25, Coleman 22, Samuel 21. All those guys got 20 or more receptions. Matt Collins has 18. And then you look at the touchdowns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 11 guys have caught a touchdown pass. He's only thrown 18 touchdowns this season. But 11 of those guys, he's thrown them to 11 different guys. Matt Collins leads the team. He's only got 3. And let's see, Ty Johnson, Shakir, and Kincaid are the only guys on this team that have multiple touchdown catches this season. So he really is spreading the football all over the place. To me, that's a big takeaway, Joe. And also, I would say the AFC East is just, I've talked about this a few times now. I'm just blown away and stunned that this race is over already. It really is. Miami's on the come up now. They've played good the last couple of weeks, but they're not making up that ground. The Jets are a disaster. The AFC East is over, and it might officially be over by the time we go on the air 2 weeks from now. Even if the Bills just win one of their next 2, it's going to be over. That to me is just, we've talked about this before, but that's probably my biggest reflection right now is that I cannot believe we're not even at Thanksgiving yet, and the AFC East is over. It's crazy.
Yeah, the East is whacked, and it's a terrible division. And the conference is kind of weak as well. And I think that's a big part of their success. They're the AFC's whacked. It was whacked last year as well. So
Yeah.
it's that's it. Oh, Alex Bashke, the Batavia Jobber's on. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
I gotta
Good to
say,
hear from you, bud.
Listen, man, I'm not wearing. I've actually had a couple people. I must really wear hoodies all the goddamn time. Silvano's also isn't wearing a hoodie. Yeah, man, I got me a little button down, man. Bill's reflection week. I kind of want to, look a little bit sporty here. But yeah, the AFC East is down. And I'll tell you one last thing, and then we got to get to a break here. Sure. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. We're going to take a real quick break. On the video side, we're going to be back in like literally 3 seconds. And something that I'm worried about, but not this season, that I really didn't spend a lot of time thinking about until this bye week. All right, I am back here with Joe from Queens. Had to do a little bit of ad break management there. I realized what point of the show we were at. All right, so going into this week, and look, I'm not going to get lost in the fact that we're in the midst of a potentially great Buffalo Bills season right now, and I want to enjoy this season for what it is, but I can't help now when I look at, you mentioned this right at the top, the first thing that surprised you is how many of these good young players, how they're playing. I start thinking right now, Brandon Beane is going to have a very tough job over the next 12 to 18 months because there are so many of these good young players that are due now at this point, or they will be after the season, to really get paid. Greg Rizzo, now the Bills already optioned, the 5th year, so he's under contract for next year, but you don't want him playing out that 5th year if you can get a deal done. And the way he's playing, he deserves it. But anyway, he's going into his second last year. Next year will be the final year under contract for Christian Benford, for Terrell Bernard, for Khalil Shakir, for James Cook, among others. These are all guys that are going to be going into the final year of their contract next season. You're going to want to try to get extensions done with at least some of them. These guys, as things stand right now, everyone I just mentioned, they all could be an unrestricted free agent come 2026. You got Amari Cooper. Do you want to bring him back? That is a potential thing that you might want to do, especially if he continues to look good. And it seems like him and Josh have some natural born chemistry there. And then you got a guy like Matt Milano, post June 1st. If you were to cut Matt Milano, you're not cutting him after the season. That's not going to happen. But he could be, we'll call it Trey White, where you cut him post June 1st because you would eat $6 million, but you could save $10 million of cap space by cutting this guy post June 1st. And I know nobody wants to think about that right now. I understand. We're in the middle of a season here. But I'm starting to think about the ramifications of, when you have good, young, ascending players like the Bills do, eventually you're going to have to pony up and you're going to have to make some tough decisions. You want to keep Bernard around or Benford, you might have to cut a Matt Milano. You might not be able to re-sign Amari Cooper. You might have to let Rasul Douglas walk when he becomes a free agent after this year. The price of being good with good, young, cheap players is that eventually you're going to have to pony up. Are you starting to think about that right now, or am I just being way premature?
It's the bye week, so why not think about it? What the fuck else we got to talk about? No, you have to think about it, especially like a lot of those guys, like next year, like after it's coming, and I definitely think they're going to have to pay some guys. I would say the guy I wouldn't pay for is James Cook, and he might be,
Agreed.
outside of, the stats, like he's got a good season going on, but I don't believe in paying running backs after their rookie deal unless the guy is like Saquon Barkley, like amazing, and like your offense needs him. Sure. So like he's the one guy, but yeah, you got to worry about that sort of stuff, especially with free agency and so on and so forth coming in, that you have to consider that. Because yes, I could go out and be like, get this guy, get that guy, get this guy, but you got to think about your other guys that you want to resign.
Running backs are making a comeback though, man, when it comes to getting nice second contracts and paying off. Derrick Henry's the obvious one. Barkley's another obvious one. But Joe Mixon's been really good with Houston. Josh Jacobs has been really good with Green Bay. And these guys are, getting up. They're not old, but they're getting up there. J.K. Dobbins is really good with the Chargers.
Fuck that. No. You're being a contrarian. That's
but
not
to
happening.
Your point, you got him. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You can't keep a team intact like this long term.
I feel you have to have Rousseau and Benford. Like, those are the guys you want to lock up.
Agreed. They're my top two.
Shakir, there's a part of me that wants him because, my God, they don't have it. They never give a shit about wide receivers. Get him, get someone. But at the same time, it's like, well, think about how much Gabe Davis is making right now. Like, that could be what Shakir ends up making, or
Yeah,
like a little bit
sure.
with inflation or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that is like, is he worth that? Like, can you get better at that? That's a little bit. And then Bernard to me, like he's a stud, but we've talked about this before. He gets injured. He's a small dude. He's been playing like, he didn't play he redshirted his first year basically, but he's their every down linebacker, and
he's their captain too now.
He's their captain, and Matt Milano, like, I have no idea. I keep talking about him. Like, I have no idea what he is when he comes back. He could be hitting a wall or whatever the heck he could be. I've called him the John Offerdahl. All the old schoolers couldn't remember him. Like, that's what he reminds me of from the Dolphins, was a guy who, when he played, it was great, but he always kind of kept getting hurt. And I feel like Milano's kind of in that realm where there's an injury here and there. It's not like he's injury prone, but he just has these injuries that come up every year and a half, and he's gone for a while. And like, maybe and it's a big difference, like, because you can tell the difference of him as a linebacker playing on the field. But, Bernard could be their heir apparent in terms of like, hey, they want to lock him up.
Sure. I think they do too.
Yeah.
I think all three of those guys, the first two you said for sure, Group, Benford.
Yeah.
You got to keep them. And I think Bernard's in that group as well. You hope to keep a guy like Shakir. Yeah. You hope to keep a guy like Cook. But the first three are the ones you really got to lock in on.
If you want me to play devil's advocate with Benford, like, look, I think he's great, but they can sit there and go, you know what? We're awesome. We can coach them up. We'll find cornerbacks anywhere. And the history says that they have found guys that the system has worked. That's just being a contrarian, like, why they wouldn't sign, like, they wouldn't want to give him a giant deal, but he could get that Trey White contract and with plus inflation or whatever. So
yeah. So look, that's the future, but that's what I'm spending a lot of time having a full week to just think about things. It's the buy. So I thought about that in the future, but I certainly don't want to take away from a team right now that is 9-2 and very much in the mix for a Super Bowl again. And you look at this team, okay, so you beat the Chiefs before the bye, which obviously that's great. And if that doesn't get you high enough on the team right now, you're you have a really good chance that coming off this bye, playing San Francisco next Sunday night, which, by the way, that is looking like a really hot ticket in Buffalo. I just want to say that I'm seeing on social media so many people hunting down or trying to hunt down tickets and willing to pay big money. This is going to be a big ticket game Sunday night here in Buffalo next Sunday night. By the way, probably going to have some snow too. A snowstorm supposed to be coming into Buffalo later this week. So finally going to get some of that.
Well, congratulations. I've been trying to let me just go off on a tangent. Do you ever have those moments where you're trying to convince someone, a loved one, possibly, I want this for Christmas, birthday, like, give me this, and they don't hear it? I've been trying to tell my wife, look, so coming up is our anniversary, Christmas, my birthday. Yeah. It's in a month span. And I'm like, look, I don't need another fucking hoodie. I don't need more alcohol. As you could tell, I'm living the dream over here. I just want to go to a Bills playoff game. And like, she's not really hearing me. And like, I have mentioned this last year. I mentioned it like the year before. And it's kind of like she kind of like bristled, like, oh, you're not going to want to go because you're not going to find a way to get there, because I don't like flying all that much by myself. I don't have a car. My wife has the car. So I have to she's not letting me take the car, period. And then I'm like, oh, do I take a train? Like, and she is right. Like, when you got an 18-month-old, you're just like, the hell with this. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Like, you telling me today, I'm like, I got to do a freaking podcast with Pat. I got 6 hours of sleep in me. This sucks. But I've been kind of trying to like will this to her. She's like, here, look at this cute sweater. It's a Bill sweater. I'm like, yeah, it's great. I'm like trying to I'm like looking, she's sleeping. But I'm trying to stone, because she's like, what do you think of this sweater? I'm like, yeah, I don't really need it. I'm trying to just reject all gifts.
Dropping clues ain't working. Being around the bush ain't working.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if, like, one time, like, the last time I went to a Bills game in Buffalo, it was my bachelor party. I got pretty twisted, and she knew that, and there's a part of me that wonders if, like, she's scared I'm gonna go there and do something asinine and like, die in a ditch or something, or I don't know, meet a Bills babe. I have no freaking idea, or mafia babe, whatever they're called. And I'm like, that's all I want to do. And she can afford it. Like, she can afford it. And I'm like, you could put me in I could be by myself. I'll tailgate and with Pinto, Ken, Ron, one of those two guys, or they're both the same guys. But I just can't I am like trying to kind of be like, yeah, that's it. And I don't know what's going on. So if anyone wants to if you know my wife, and none of you people do, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. If any hints, but I'm just trying. That's all I want to do.
How can Joe more effectively convince?
Because I don't want to be a dick about it. Like,
Mrs. Buffalo wins. How can you more effectively convince Mrs. Buffalo wins to send Joe to a Bills game?
That's all I want to do is a play. Because it was either going to be like, I told her, I was like, even last year, I'm like, look, I don't care. Either the home opener. Yes, it will be. Maybe it won't be. Maybe if they have a wild card game, maybe it won't be that bad, because if this is another wild card game that they've done, it's like it's going to be the fourth year in a row. Fifth. What the fuck am I saying? Fifth wild card game in a row. And maybe people are going to be like, what do we got to go to a wild card game? Like, let me know when they play the Chiefs in the championship game or something like that. So maybe there'll be a little bit less to get. I don't know. But I've been like, I'm like, I got three things. Like, just combine them. If someone said to me, oh, we got your birthday, Christmas, and the anniversary coming up, like, just combine them, I'd be like, oh, easy. Screw the stocking stuffers and all that shit, or lingerie for anniversary night. Like, just give me that. We're done. You're done shopping. That's it. So,
we'll see if that works out for you. Last thing with the Bills, I do want to say too is, again, if you're not excited enough already about the fact that they are 9-2, that they just beat the Kansas City Chiefs for a fourth straight year in the regular season, and lots of some good games, some good matchups, and then some really, really, you better win these games end of the season kind of matchups. There's a lot to be excited about as it is. And you could also look at it this week. It's not just possible, it's very realistic that the Bills could get Matt Milano, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, all back on Sunday. I mean, those are three really good football players that did not play against the Chiefs. You might get Milano, Coleman, and Kincaid back. Dwayne Carter was showing some signs as a rookie. He's been on IR. He could come off. I don't know if he's going to be ready or not, but he might be back in the lineup. I'm not so much. Dwan Smoot has been pretty serviceable. He'll be back at some point anyway, but the Milano, Coleman, Kincaid, that's like instant impact. None of them played against the Chiefs, and they potentially all could be back on Sunday against the 49ers. Even though I think Milano, if he does play, I think he's going to be on a big pitch count. Like, he'll play maybe a couple drives the first week or two. But still, that's exciting for Bills fans to get those three high-caliber football players back. Not to mention Amari Cooper probably going to be significantly healthier 2 weeks, since playing his last game as well.
Who do you think is the most important of those guys for the team?
That's a good question. Probably Kincaid by a tiny bit. I don't know. Actually, maybe if he's going to look 90% of what he was pre-injury, Matt Milano, because he's just 90% of Matt Milano is just a big upgrade against Dorian Williams. And Dorian Williams has been pretty good. Again, that depth has been great for the Bills, but Matt Milano, if he's close to being, what he is, which that's an all-pro caliber linebacker, he's a difference maker out there. So yeah, I'd probably have to go with Milano, but it's close. Kincaid, I can make a big case for as well.
I would go Milano too. And the reason why is, like, with Kincaid, if he's out, you have Dawson Knox, who I do think he's serviceable in terms of being a replacement. Milano, like, there's a big drop from Williams to Milano. And, like, there's part of me just wants to see, like, Terrell Bernard play next to Matt Milano. Like, we saw that last year for what, like a month, maybe? I don't even remember when I know he got injured in the Jacksonville game. But like, I'd like to see them play next to each other and just be like, oh, let's see how good this unit is and how they're going to work.
And Taron Johnson next to those two guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we haven't seen that, at all. Right. I mean, that would be awesome to see. And I really hope, obviously, Amari, like, I need to see him healthy and, like, not on a pitch count and playing every down, because that's going to be he's their best.
He's their best.
Yeah, he's their best wide receiver, probably over Shakir. Yeah,
he definitely is. I love Khalil Shakir. Khalil does something's great. But Amari Cooper, he makes plays that other guys on this team just aren't making. And we saw 2 of them against the Chiefs. He only had 2 catches, and they were both huge plays.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Worry of the AFC teams right now. Like if the playoffs ended today or started today, excuse me. Do we have Denver again?
How do you Denver if the season?
How do you feel about Denver? Denver feels very like I don't feel like we're respecting them all that much, but they have a good defense. Nick's has been really good as a rookie.
I prefer to play them. It looks like as things stand right now, they would be playing. They would definitely be playing Denver, but Miami's in that mix too. Miami's a game and a half back. So it's looking like it's going to be Denver or Miami. And if the Bills stay at the 2, I'd rather play Denver. Miami they know the Bills so well. You got to go out and you got to play well. I think the Bills are definitely a better team than Miami. They've owned the Miami Dolphins. I get all that. But still, Miami can be dangerous, and they know the Bills. You're not going to surprise them. You just got to go out and you got to outplay them. I think the Bills are just a flat-out better team than Denver. Not that Denver's a bad team. Miami, by the way, is we'll spend a few minutes here talking about like biggest takeaways from these games on Sunday that had nothing to do with the Bills. But Miami's back a little bit. I mean, they're 5-6 now. They're definitely a different team with Tua in the lineup. They've won 3 in a row. He threw for 300. Now, granted, they were playing the Patriots at home, but still, 317 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns today. He's thrown 7 in his last 2 games. Miami's a pretty talented team when they're healthy. Now, they still got, again, they've got 6 losses. They're playing catch-up to try to get in the playoffs, and they still got some tough games on their schedule. They're still playing at Green Bay. They're still playing at Houston. They got a home game against Frisco. They're playing at Cleveland, which is not a gimme game anymore. They look like a different team with Jameis Winston quarterbacking. So I'm not going to get too high on Miami yet because they really excel at beating shitty teams. They do that all the time. Let's see later in the season when they're playing better competition and it's cold, how they look. But Miami's could be a dangerous team. And they're playing good again.
They can be. And let's look at the facts. The Bills, while the Bills have beaten them, they've been outside of that early game this season, they've been mostly close. They've been close games in terms of if you wanted to go matchup. I guess last year too, they kind of blew them out in Buffalo. So it's kind of been like, it's not been a blowout as much as I think a lot of people would like to think of it. So it's a they won at the gun this year in Buffalo, and I was with Tua back there, and obviously the first game was a disaster for Miami, but they definitely have a lot of weapons. But I go back to Denver a little bit. Like Denver feels like an unknown to me a little bit there. And they played really well. I think they played well, if I remember correctly. They played well against the Chiefs earlier this year. Oh yeah, they did. They freaking the stupid field goal, like they got blocked. Yeah, and they almost they should have beat them. So it's a little bit.
They're formidable. They're formidable, but again, weapons, rookie quarterback, having to come to Orchard Park for a playoff game. If you're asking me if I would prefer to play Denver or Miami, I would prefer Denver again for those reasons. Which, by the way, Kansas City. So the Bills are a half game out basically from not even having to worry about playing in the first round. They could be the number 1 seed. And Kansas City did it again on Sunday. They just find a way to squeak by 30-27 over the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. I watched a lot of that game. It was a competitive game, and it's just, this has been the Chiefs' ammo. They just find ways to win. They easily could have lost this game. Although, to be fair, they were never losing. So it's not like they got lucky.
They were up by a couple of scores, and then the
Carolina was game, man. Bryce Young played well. Played well.
Good for him. I mean, he's that poor dude's had like no help at all, or in terms of play.
But the Bills Bills need a game. They need something to go against Kansas City. It just doesn't seem to happen. They just find a way to win. And a lot of people are they're the worst 9-1 team that they've ever seen. This and that. I'm like, they find a way to win, and they are literally the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. They just know how to win a football game. They know how to make that one play or create that one break that the opponent doesn't, and that's why they keep winning. It's annoying and frustrating because this team could easily have 2, 3, even 4 losses this year, but yet, again, they're 9-1. So
let me ask you this. Who do you think is the best team in football right now?
Detroit.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo's the second best team in football right now. I do. I think they're the second most complete team. And I think they're the second best team. Yeah, Detroit's just, they're really good. But Detroit's also kind of been, the schedule's been very kind to them like lately. Let's take a real quick look here. I'm going to do this in real time. Because Detroit's just pounding everyone. Although they didn't necessarily win in a big blowout today. But what did they win today? 24-6 at Indy. All right. But look at a lot of their wins. So they've beaten, let's see, the Rams, Arizona, Seattle, at Dallas, who sucks. They did win at Minnesota. That was a big one. But then they beat Tennessee. Well, they won on the road at Green Bay, on the road at Houston. Never mind. This team's really good. Jacksonville, they beat at home. And then, again, Indy on the road. I'm looking at their schedule for the rest of the year. They play Chicago twice. They play Green Bay at home. They got Buffalo, and they're at Frisco, and then Minnesota. Yeah, I would say right now, as things stand, Detroit's probably the best team. And I think the Bills are probably number 2 right now. Who's not number 2 is Houston. They're slipping. They lost at home.
Yeah, that was
the Titans, man. 32-27. They're 7-5. If you're the Bills now, because they beat the Bills, so you don't want to finish in a tie with them, but you're 3 games clear right now of Houston. I'm not sure the Bills lose 3 more games for the rest of the season. So I think you're looking in pretty good shape. CJ Stroud seems to be having at least a little bit of a sophomore slump. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be a fun week playing San Francisco too.
It's going to be, we'll see what they do. I mean, they got crushed today, San Fran, and Purdy was coming back obviously next week. But that Detroit game, I know it's like 3 weeks from now. That's going to be like an epic, quote unquote, Super Bowl preview right there. In terms of
425 game too. That the numbers are going to be monstrous. I bet you for that game. They were monstrous against the Chiefs. I think it was like 31.7 million homes watched that game. It was the most CBS had non-Thanksgiving or Christmas game.
And what is it?
It's 1990 something.
Yeah, and so a 5-hour drive from Buffalo if you go through Canada, right? I believe
to go to Detroit. Yeah, about 5 hours.
I wonder how many. I wonder if there'll be a big expat like.
There'll be a good representation, but it's not going to be no Bills takeover. Detroit's got good fans, kind of like Kansas City. Some cities, Bills Mafia just takes the stadium over, and it's so apparent when even just watching the telecast.
I don't know. They took over Seattle, and Seattle's a good fucking fan base too. I mean, I know Detroit is like. But I don't know how expensive tickets are there. I should look them up later, but I'm curious.
Let's with the time we got left here, just a little bit of time. Let's talk Sabres for a few minutes.
Yeah, and why not?
I'll tell you, I think I'm conditioned to hate on them at this point because they just let me down for so many years. Maybe, I started this podcast in 2018. The Bills already had broken the drought. So maybe if we had done this podcast in the mid 2010, 2011, 2012, I would have just been conditioned to hate on the Bills. I'm conditioned to hate on the Sabres right now. I'm very wary of them. I still don't trust them, but they've won 3 in a row. They won out on the West Coast, California sweep, 3 straight games, Kings, Ducks, Sharks. It was their first sweep in California since 1993. They did it without Tage Thompson, who's far and away their best player, too.
Sure.
And don't look now, but the Sabres have 7-2 in their last 9 games. They're 11-9-1 on the season. If the season ended right now or ended, they'd be in the playoffs. It's crazy. That everybody eats thing that we talk about with the Bills. Everybody's eating with the Sabres, too, because they've won 11 games this year. 10 different guys have gotten a game-winning goal. So they're getting contributions from all these guys scoring to win hockey games. I don't know. We're not going to go into the weeds. I know you barely even get to watch the games. I don't watch many of them, certainly not as many as I should. But, I'll say just to be able to enjoy their season again, it would be so nice to just see the Sabres relevant again and in the mix for a lot of young people right now who are listening to this show. They don't even know what the hell that is for the Sabres to be a playoff team. I'm dead ass serious. I mean, 13 years. So, if you're 23 years old, you were 10 years old the last time the Sabres even made the playoffs. You don't know shit when you're 10 years old.
Sure.
It's just fun to see them, at least for the time being, relevant and enjoying this. Are you at all? Or do you not care, at least not yet?
No, you know what? I do care. I've been not as great with watching because of kid, all that shit. I did watch some of the West Coast games. I actually paid for it against San Jose. I stayed up until was it San Jose? Yeah, it was. No, the overtime game against yeah, it was San Jose. Sorry, dad brain.
Mhm.
I stayed up till like 12:45 for that, and the kid woke up at 3:30, losing his fucking mind. So that was a bad mistake by me, but it was a great game. I enjoyed it. I definitely feel like everyone eats is kind of what's happening. Like your stat was very fun. I'm sure you stole it from someone, but you did. You definitely did. You always do that. But look, they they had solid goaltending, throughout this whole road trip, and UPL's been good, and Reimer was really good against San Jose the other night. Like he made some freaking awesome saves.
Mhm.
Alex Tuck is leading the team in points right now, and he's a kind of do everything guy, and he does the dirty work. He's a good penalty killer.
3 shorthanded goals.
3 shorthanded goals, and doing without Tage is fun. Is kind of crazy for right now. And look, Sabres fans, I mean, for me, the expectations are so low. Like, just get the hell in the playoffs. Just have like a good May or April. Like, just get in so we can at least live vicariously for once in our life. But like the younger guys are doing really good for them. Like Benson's been really good. He's a gritty guy, and their bottom 6, which is like completely different, has been pretty good this year. Like Jason Zucker's been really good. It's been
very good
free agent acquisition from Adams, and it's been fun. I mean, like they need some other things. Like Cousins has been better as of late. Like he kind of started to see like he wasn't skating, and they still need Quinn to kind of get into his groove a little bit. Krebs had a goal the other night, so they've been better. And,
Lindy Ruff's doing a good job, man. Lindy Ruff is doing a good job with this team right now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, that's what Lindy, like the quintessential like Sabres teams were always like that 7th and like 9th seed for Lindy Ruff's most of his, his time here. Like before the lockout, and just those 2 or 3 years where they were like, in the top 3, but they were always in that, like that he gets you in the playoffs. If that was your goal and you wanted to just get in the freaking playoffs, he was the guy.
That is the goal right now, man. That really
absolutely
is. Let me give you if you're wary, if you're going to pump the brakes right now on the Sabres a little bit. I saw this. I don't even know where to attribute this to, but I did see it on social media on Sunday. 6 years ago, on this day, 6 years ago, the Sabres were 16-6-2 and had the most points in the entire NHL on this date 6 years ago. They finished that season with 76 points, which was 5th worst in the NHL. So things can, and when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres, have turned at the blink of an eye. So let's be careful on that, but it would be fun to just have more exciting, meaningful games later in the season to talk about. I want to, before we get to our Mount Flushmore and wrap up here, I got a pair of comments in the chat, one about football and one hockey that I thought were pretty cool. I want to share them. They're both from Andrew Greer. We were talking about Houston a few minutes ago. He said Houston overestimated the step forward Stroud was going to take, and I think they believe their pass rush can make up for their coverage units. Don't really got much more to add. That's a really good point. Like I said, Stroud's taking a little bit of a step back, and that defense, you shouldn't be giving up 30 points to the Tennessee Titans, 32 points to the Tennessee Titans at home. That's all I'll say about that. And then he also said something. Oh, yeah. My wife has a Sabres logo tattooed on her rib cage. They've been on my TV without fail, good, bad, or awful since we met. This is the first time since I was in my 20s. I legitimately find them fun. That's a good comment. I'll say this, though. I think they were fun 2 years ago. They were scoring a lot of goals. They were like 3rd in the league in scoring. They just didn't play defense. They almost made the playoffs. They finished 2 points out. So they were fun, I think, as recently as 2 years ago. Last year was disgraceful. And this year, so far, the returns are promising. And they're fun.
Do you feel you're going to care more about the Sabres when the Bill season ends? Is that kind of how you feel? Yeah. And I kind of feel
right now.
Yeah. Like, I feel like kind of like I've always been that way growing up, in terms of like the Sabres. It was like, I'll start caring in January, but like, obviously it was, and they were good in the 90s, like for the most part. And the Bills were good too, but I cared about the Bills. And then when the Bill season ended, I was like, all right, let me get into the Sabres now. So
I think you'll see that, especially if they're in contention. Like, and by saying contention, I'm talking about like if they're like dead smack in the playoff mix. I think you'll see a lot of the, I guess we'll call them casuals, start to become more involved with the team when the football season ends. As long as they're still competitively good.
Yeah. Personal news. I'm actually going to the Sabres Blackhawks game in December 27th, I believe it is, which will be my son's first game, which I'm very excited about.
Nice.
Have you? I know we talked about going to Bills games, which you don't like going. Have you gone to Sabres games? Or is that a thing you do or no?
No, I haven't been to a game in a long time. I don't even know the last Sabres game I've been to. I don't like going to games.
What's wrong with you?
I prefer.
You know what? You're a cheap shit. That's what it is. I know you see these tall boys and you're like, oh, what is that? $13-14? I could go down to Mount Pubs and get something for like $3.52.
I don't.
That's why you don't go. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
I like watching games on TV more, man. I like relaxing, going to the bathroom when I want.
You haven't gone. Hold on. When was the last? I get it, but when was the last time you went? Like
I don't remember. I cannot remember.
Okay. When was the last Bills game you went to again?
I don't remember.
But bro, you're like fucking 58 now, or whatever you are. Like you're an adult now. Like, don't you think you would enjoy it more now than like the last time you went? When I don't know when that was. When you were in your 20s, like
the
back
traffic,
in the 60s.
all the other factors. I have to go to the bathroom all the
time.
Get
an Uber driver, bro.
I like watching.
Get Alex Bashke to freaking drive you there and back. He's going to the press box.
I want
him to go.
Before we get out of here, I forgot this wasn't a new segment. We did do it once before. I even got the graphic here. I even got the graphic. You like that? That's the toilet flushing, the mouth Flushmore.
How much did that graphic cost you? Like $2?
Probably something like that. But yeah, so what we'll do when we do these, instead of having the Mount Rushmore, like the 4 best of something, I thought especially having you on, it would be more fun to have like the 4 worst of something. We'll do different topics. What I came up with this week was what's your Mount Flushmore of social media follows. So it's gonna be Twitter, it's gonna be Blue Sky, Facebook, whatever. But social media, Instagram, social media follows.
My mom is terrible to follow. No, on Facebook.
Your Mount Rushmore. Give me your 4 worst or most annoying or whatever follows.
Okay, well, first off, it's almost everyone who has me blocked on Twitter, even though I gave up Twitter. Like all you people who have blocked me, you should be down there, like right where the turd is going on the Flushmore. But no, I have to give specifics. First, I know you don't follow him, but Clay Travis is terrible. He's a right-wing lunatic. He is terrible and like fake outrage, makes up bullshit. Like fuck him. He is terrible. I mean, it's a big reason why I'm off Twitter. It's because of what that asshole promotes, but he's terrible. I've sometimes go there just to see his shit, and it's terrible. He's awful. The Y guy is pretty terrible for going local. He steals jokes from people. I remember during the COVID year, he was like, Mr. like, oh, like this is barbaric and they're not letting us go to the Bills games. And I'm like, have you even gone to a Bills game since the Bills since COVID's like past air quotes? Like, have you gone, or are you just pulling that bullshit for like sympathy points? Like,
I don't know him. I've never I've never had an interaction with him in my life.
I served him pizza. He's been there forever. I served him pizza in 1999, and I remember him because he was a dick, and I was serving him a slice, and like he got angry because he left his newspaper there, and I went to go take it, and then he yelled at me because he wanted me to leave it there for another customer. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? He came across as very much like, you should recognize me and come behind the counter and give me the more pepperonis on my slice. So he sucks. F him. I didn't like serving him a slice. So that's 2. I'm going to throw in Paul Hamilton. That dude has blocked everyone. I don't even think I recall following him, but for the most part, I know he blocks everyone. So he's on there.
Let me say this with Paul. You've asked me this question and I've answered this. He's to this day one of my 2 or 3 favorite episodes I've ever had on the show was an interview with Paul Hamilton, because I thought it was a great interview. I respect him in his career, but yeah, he's a shitty follow on social media because he hasn't blocked me, but he
will after this podcast.
And he also tweets things like 5 minutes after everybody else too. I've noticed that a lot with Paul, but yeah, he's not the best. This is social media, not real life humans necessarily, but Yes. All right. So that's at least a sensible one. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that one. All right. You got one more, though.
All right. Okay. So we have 2 local. We have 1 national with Clay Travis. I'll do another national one. One of the Trump kids. Like pick your Eric
Pick
or
any of 'em.
Don Jr. Don Jr. is the worst. I mean, that guy is coked out of his mind every time, and he's just Mr. Outrage. He's a fucking idiot. Sorry to all of our Republican listeners right now, but he's an idiot. He shouldn't be on. I don't even know why people interview him. Like, we're not interviewing Hunter or Chelsea Clinton or the Obama kids, but this asshole gets to get all this headplay, and so does the other idiot, Albino Eric. Like, why? Why does anyone care what their kids have to say? So both the Trump kids are terrible. You know what? I should have actually said Don, but like he's on Truth or whatever. He's an awful. You know, you did say last week we were going to talk politics, by the way.
Well,
and
we can sprinkle it a little bit. This is definitely your way of doing it. Plus, it's near the end of the show anyway.
Yeah, it's near the end. Yeah, the whole country's going to hell. So I'm really excited about this. Poor Tone Pucks. I know he's dying like I am as well.
Someone asked me, by the way, somebody asked me in the comment section earlier. I don't know if I can find it right now at this point. There's a lot of them that I got many of these buried, but somebody asked me where Tone Pucks has been. I'll tell you this. We were supposed to meet up last Thursday. So again, I'm calling him out a little bit. Yeah, it was Tom Guzman who says, where's Tone? Well,
you replaced him. You replaced him with Matt Warren. You wanted the SB Nation.
No, if anything, actually, Matt Warren kind of took over for Anthony Marino being on weekly because Anthony's just too busy with his job. Anthony's awesome, but he's switched jobs and careers, so he's kind of still getting everything set, and he'll start being on the show more. I love Anthony, that's my guy. I still talk to him all the time. But anyway, so Tone Pucks, I talked to him earlier last week, and I was supposed to go to his house on Thursday. Tone is a smart dude. He's a great sports guy, and he's a smart person. I mean, he's a crazy hothead like myself, but he's a smart dude unless it has anything to do with technology. He couldn't be more dumb if it comes to technology stuff. So I got him a webcam, a simple plug-and-play webcam, and I got him a USB. This was a year ago, and which we've never done a show remotely ever. But yeah, I got him an older webcam that I used to use at one point, like a year ago. And I also got him a USB plug-and-play mic. Like literally, you plug it into your laptop, kind of like what you have.
Sure.
Similar. Anyway, I was supposed to go to his house on Thursday in his basement because he's got like a man cave down there. And I got to show him like how to set the microphone and the camera up so that he can do the show remotely. Because again, apparently this guy can figure out all kinds of real world issues and problems, but he can't figure out how to make a webcam and a microphone work. Anyway, I called him Thursday morning. I texted him. I said, I'm still trying to get there, really busy trying to work it out. He goes, damn, I forgot about it completely. Reschedule it. So that's
he's got kids, got younger kids.
He ain't had no kids on Thursday, dude.
Well, you know what? Why don't you pay some of us? Like, you have all these, give him some money. By the way, I hated your rundown that you sent to me. I looked through it. I'm like, which actually it was fine because thank God I commandeered it all. I would pay someone $10 to produce our shows just for me. I'll pay you $10. Give us better topics than Mr. Moran over here, who writes these out of bar. But anyway, or he steals them from Aaron Quinn or someone. But yeah,
if Tone Pucks and I don't get in a big fight, which is always on the table with me and him, if that doesn't happen, you can definitely expect Tone to be coming back on the show soon. It's fun. I like having him on because again, that's 36 years of being a friend of me. I don't even like to say we're friends. We're enemies, but friends. Yeah. So we're frenemies, and pretty much a whole lifetime. And we could just,
what? I'm just gonna say this. Two more things, and then I'm gonna get the hell out of here. One, I don't like how last week, even though I'm off Twitter, the only time I go on Twitter is to promote this podcast. So you're welcome, Pat. You did not tag me last week when you promoted the show. And I was like, why didn't you tag me? He goes, well, I want to try your alter ego. Joe from Queens is better. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, you didn't want to tag me. So you're going
know the name Joe. People know the name now. Joe from Queens.
No.
They're like, they know Buffalo wins. What is that? Plus, you don't even use Twitter.
But on Twitter they do. You see, you're like Vince McMahon repackaging, like someone from WCW, like the Stalker, Barry Windham. Like, that's what you're doing with Joe from Queens. No, people know me as Buffalo Wins on Twitter, though. That's what they know me are. It's like, I'm not saying like the people who listen to your podcast, the subscribers do, like, I guess Joe from Queens, whatever the fuck. But Buffalo Wins is still like an institution on Twitter. God damn it. I'm going to hold on to that fucking shit. It's actually not at all. But like you trying to repackage me, I don't appreciate that. You tag me for the podcast tomorrow.
You had something else to complain about too. You said two things.
Oh God, what was the other one?
Did you forget already because you went
on
that
I mean, way. I'm almost done with my beer, and this is 8%. So, and I'm on an empty stomach, and
I never gave you. Let me run. I never gave you my mouth.
Oh no. Oh, okay, you can. But the last thing, I think finally, for years, I was the emergency quarterback on this podcast.
Yeah,
and like it was no flow, nothing. It was just like you're gonna go in there cold, like freaking like Jeff Toole going in the game. Like, okay, I'll figure this shit out as I go. I'm your number one guest now. I feel like I am. I have Yurden barely comes on anymore.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Quinn is on sabbatical. I don't know what happened to him. He's making greasy fucking bagels right now somewhere. And Anthony Marino, he's like he got a new career. I'm your number one guy.
You are. You've been on the show now. Definitely more times.
We broke up and we're back together now. So
Alex and Moran drink 7 days a week. That's not true. I drink 1.5 days a week, but somehow it's the
best. Pat's skinny fat, by the way.
I am.
He's skinny fat. He hasn't looked at the weight.
No, I've gained a lot of weight. I've gained a lot of the weight that I lost earlier in the year. I have definitely gained it back. I can see it on my face, my neck, my shirts are getting tighter by the day.
Yeah, it's
Let me give you my Mount Flushmore.
Go ahead. Let me hear this Mount Flushmore.
I'll be quick. I'll be real quick.
Yeah, better be quick. That's what your wife said. Go ahead.
Rex Chapman. Rex Chapman was my hero with basketball. Dopest white basketball college player ever.
Good 3-point shooter.
Sweet as hell, man. Yeah, most white guys who play basketball, they're great shooters, whatever. They're stereotypes. I'm being totally stereotyped here. But Rex was dope. He was sweet. Loved him. Hate his Twitter, though. It's just nonstop politics. Retweets, ridiculous shit. I cannot stand it. I can't stand either side when it's all about politics. So he annoys me. That's one. Michael Rappaport, I've respected his comedy and he used to be fun. But now, and understandably so, with the war going, the Ukraine war going on, that's all his Twitter feed has become now. It's just, he's lost his mind on there. So I got him up there. Jeremiah Poyer, Jordan's brother. He hates Bills fans now with such a passion. Everything's Buffalo Bills fans' fault or the Bills' fault. He's still going at it this season. Look, I love Jordan Poyer. I wish I can take my camera right now. I got literally a picture of Jordan Poyer up above my camera shot here on the ceiling. He's one of my favorite Buffalo Bills.
Is that next to your Rachel Bush freaking beach photo, probably?
No, I don't got no Rachel Bush photos up here. She unfollowed me on Twitter recently, by the way. But anyway,
you stalk her every day.
No. I don't know why she ever followed me, but she did. But she doesn't anymore. But anyway, I love Jordan Poyer, okay? He's not the same football player anymore. He has not played well with Miami. He got ran over. He got trucked during the game today. I mean, they won. That's all that matters. But Romani Stevenson trucked him. Anyway, this dude just has a lot of hatred for Bills fans. I'll just leave it at that. And then that Dan Mitchell, he's my last one. That dude is just,
this is why you want to do this shit.
No, this is going back.
Well, you got vendetta against this guy.
You know what? You mute, you block people. And this is one thing I'm starting to really hate about Twitter is it doesn't work. Like I've muted a lot of people recently, a lot of terms, and it works for like 2 days. And then all of a sudden these people appear. His tweet today was something about Xavier Worthy looks like a lesbian. Like, how the fuck does this guy get hey, respect. He's got a ton of followers on YouTube and TikTok, but all he does is throw out these stupid clickbait headlines. They're the worst. And then, like I said, he's saying that Xavier Worthy looks like a lesbian. I mean, what is that? What are we doing here? And people take this guy serious? Nobody should take him serious, period. He has these 1.5-minute clips that look like a 12-year-old put them together. And I understand he's getting all these views on TikTok. He has mastered algorithms and things like that. So I give him respect for that. But in terms of the content and his Twitter, just a complete joke, man. Just a joke. And I don't give a shit. I'm not usually a guy who throws shade at other content creators because I know how hard it can be and time consuming.
Yeah, you just throw shade behind their back to me.
Yeah, this guy just talks so much shit, man. He really does. And it's just garbage clickbait headlines and stupid tweets. Like I said, the Xavier Worthy lesbian tweet on Sunday, just Get out of here, man. Just absolutely ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that seems like that's why I'm not on the X.
Everyone likes my skin, though, man. Dude, maybe should I stop wearing hoodies on the show or something?
Great skin. What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know, man. I kind of like it, though. I appreciate that.
I mean, you got like the poly. You look like you know, it's a little blushing up there, like you're saying. By the way, I saw a couple things, two things.
Hmm?
I saw your Christmas movie list. Somehow I was on X and I saw it, and I'm very happy you have Scrooged near the top of it. Number one, I think it was, right?
I had number one, literally.
Yeah. I love Scrooge. Before I met my wife, I wanted to be Frank Cross in television and be like this miserable like TV executive. That was my goal. I was like, I want to be that asshole, you know, and be a vice president of television. But yes, that movie's awesome. I do not agree with you on Vegas Vacation. That movie's terrible. It's not funny at all. Or not Vegas Vacation, sorry. Christmas Vacation. It's terrible. It's not good at all. There's no funny parts in that movie at all. I know we're before Thanksgiving. It's not good. It's not good. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here quick enough in real time.
No, save that for another. We're not even in Christmas yet. Who's
not in Christmas yet?
Well, no, I'm saying like save that content for like later in December or something like that. When you
all right, that's fair enough. You know what? Next because after next Mount Flushmore will be Christmas movies. That's what we can do. It'll be after Thanksgiving, so it's officially for everyone who's not already in that mode. Christmas season. I'm already in Christmas mode.
No, I am too. I have my Christmas tree over here.
Everything's up in my house. Everything's up inside. Everything's up outside. In fact, we put the decorations on the tree today. It's all the only thing that's missing is the star on the top, which my daughter has to be here in the house for that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I know you're gonna say no. On one of these podcasts before Christmas, I'm gonna show people my tree. Because I have the most eclectic, I am not bullshitting you, the most eclectic Christmas tree ornaments you will ever see. Where
take a picture of it and send it to me, and then I'll put it up on a graphic.
No, I'm gonna show it like old school, like TikTok. I'm gonna take it like this. I'm gonna pick up. I'm gonna piss you off and be like on the video side. You're gonna be like, "This is not good, man. What the hell? People gonna see my face, not your tree." You know, and all that sort of shit.
One last thing here, then we definitely got to go. Who gives a shit? We're late here, and we saved all the other stuff for the end because that's been the biggest complaint. I had Joe Yurden on the show Friday, and it was a great interview. However, we went down the Twitterverse Blue Sky rabbit hole right at the beginning, and then I look up, and I'm like, Joe's a talker. He's a media guy. He could talk forever. And we're like 17, 18 minutes in. I'm like, we didn't even get to the Sabres or the Bills. This is probably not going to go over well with fans. Sure enough, I got a lot of compliments too, but also a lot of bitching, like, you know, put up chapters on the video and yada, yada, yada. Get to the Bills, Sabres. No one cares about what you think about politics.
Posts. Oh, gosh.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I like to save stuff for the end. And again, the Bills didn't play. So this is a rare opportunity for us to kick it around with a bunch of other shit. But we are both, you got an Andre the Giant hoodie here. Last thing.
Yeah.
We're both wrestling fans, obviously. Survivor Series is this weekend. War Games. Quickly. Give me your prediction for the main event. And B, how do you feel about the build? We knew the bloodline was going to be the War Games. We've known that forever. But what they've done to keep it 5-on-5, how do you feel about that?
I think it's been awesome. And I think CM Punk being the number 5 guy, that was a curveball. I think everyone thought it was going to be Seth Rollins, and it wasn't. And it makes sense for it to be CM Punk because of the Paul Heyman connection. And he's never been fucked over by the bloodline, so it makes completely sense storyline. God, I don't know who's gonna win that because there's a part of me that thinks you got to get over the new bloodline. Like Booking 101 says, you got to get over the new bloodline.
Sure,
like that's what you got to get over because the old bloodline, they're completely over the end, and then like you maybe you can set up stuff with infighting between Punk and Roman, like you can do that maybe like for a program down the road. You also have the Seth Rollins things, which we haven't seen yet because Seth Rollins, maybe he'll be unhappy because rumor has it it's supposed to be Seth and Punk at Mania. So this could set up into that. There's a part of me, I think it's going to be the new bloodline, and I'm going to tell you why. They've been losing. They've been getting their asses handed to them in matches against the old bloodline. Like they lost a tag team match when it was Cody and Roman. Did they lose that match? Maybe I'm wrong. No, they did. I think they lost the match. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember. So if they did, whatever. But I think the new bloodline is gonna win. I feel like they want to set that up for them to win. That's what I feel.
I didn't like the angle at first. Like, boy, Bronson Reed, why? And it's like, for what? Then you're just forcing it to be a 5-on-5. It felt like organically 4-on-4
it should have
been.
been. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I should have been.
But the way they're doing it, I see it. Bronson Reed comes in, which again, he no real reason. Maybe it gets him a little bit over as a name in a main event too, a little bit, but for the average fan. But then by bringing CM Punk back, so you're right about the Heyman thing. And also, Seth is still going to have his beef for the time to kill some time now with Bronson Reed. That'll probably go on for a couple more pay-per-views, not this one, but in the future, which will kind of get you maybe to the Royal Rumble. And that's where Punk, Rollins can even pay Punk even more because he's the one who came and he's helping, Roman Reigns. And even though it's really for Heyman, but also, he pins Bronson Reed, and that's how the old OG bloodline wins, and it just creates more hate for them down the road. I get that. I also agree with you. I do think the new bloodline is probably going to win, and I think it's going to be, I might be, shooting high here, but I think The Rock might come back and make an appearance on Saturday and help.
Yeah, I mean, he
comes out and he rock bottoms somebody on, whether it's Sami Zayn or whether it's CM Punk, somebody on that side, not Roman, but he comes out and he eventually helps the new bloodline win that match.
Can we officially say that the bloodline storyline is the best storyline ever? Can we say that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, what are the best storylines? Like you have to probably go through like Austin Brett, I thought was great.
Sure.
Austin Vince, probably like the best before this. I don't know, Hogan, Andre the Giant, but that was like 2 years, like WrestleMania 3 and 4.
Yeah, this has been going on this is the best
since COVID, since 2020.
This is the best sustained storyline maybe ever in the history.
Yeah, like the NWO. The NWO was hot for like.
If I think on it, I might change my mind, but I don't know that I will because
I don't think you can. I mean, I think nostalgia is what would keep you go. Oh, it's got to be Austin Vince, but like they're making a lot of money. They're selling out.
NWO was good for a while, but NWO just got ridiculous at one point.
No, it died after 2 years. Like it was they didn't know what to do after that. But this one is it's intriguing. They've made people. And it filters into other things like the KO, Cody Rhodes, like that dilemma has been because of the bloodline. Yeah. Basically, it's been continuity because the fucking bipolar owner is gone. Vince is, I don't know what the hell he's doing now, but like, props to Triple H and whoever. Like they have made this cohesive. They have made it make sense. If Vince was there, it would have ended long time ago, and Roman would have killed everyone, and who the hell knows what would happen.
I never fell off wrestling, but I came close. Like I got to a point where I was just reading Cage Side Seats on Tuesdays or Saturday mornings for recaps, and I wasn't watching often. But now I try to watch as much as I can, and I still like reading the recaps. Anyway, maybe we'll talk about if we get some time carved out at the end. We'll do, like I said, we'll have a new Mount Flushmore. We'll do Christmas movies, and we'll do a little.
You're lucky you didn't make it on my social media thing. I was gonna put you on there as a Mount Flushmore. all your pandering to freaking every media person. I'm sure you tweeted to John Scott like, "Hey, Cobra Kai, did you watch it too, buddy?" But I'm not on the X anymore. So.
I did an episode with him and Perino. All about Cobra Kai, not this season, last season. We
must have set a record for downloads of people deleting their podcast and shit. Yeah.
The final 5 episodes of Cobra Kai are coming out in February. I'll wait till it's done.
And they're doing a movie too, right? They're doing a movie.
I don't know how much it ties into how this ends or not. I don't know. But
well, you know what? It's stupid when they split that shit up. It just doesn't make sense. It's stupid.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. This was fun, man. I like it's boring when the Bills don't play, but you come up with enough interesting things to make it fun. I've been thinking in my mind, usually when we're talking, there's a point of the show where sometimes I'll say something or you say something, and I'm like, this could be where I want to make sure I have a clip on Monday. And I think the clip is definitely going to be you trying to find a way to convince your wife.
Oh God! Well, hopefully she doesn't stalk me on Twitter.
I feel like that's clip worthy for sure. So look for that on Twitter and Blue Sky. on Monday as well. Follow Joe on Blue Sky.
Yes, Buffalo wins. Yes. Don't follow me on the X.
BSKY.
I'm not going back to X until Elon fucking sells it or he passes out or dies or whatever. But yeah, follow me on Blue Sky for good content.
Hey, follow Joe on Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky as well. Dude, I'll go wherever the people are, man. I'm a man of the people.
Yeah,
so.
the man of the people's champ over here.
I am on there. I'm at Patrick Moran TV.bsky.social. Still on Twitter as well, Patrick Moran TV. Same thing with Instagram as well. Anyway, thank you for listening, for watching. I'll be back. I don't know who's going to be on, but I do plan on having
it won't be me.
Sabres media guests for tomorrow's show, and then Matt Warren will be with me on Wednesday. Like I said, Thursday's going to kind of be like a highlight clip show because of
get Chris Baker on your podcast.
I've already got her. You know what? I'll tell you what. I literally sent a DM to him. He's the guy I said he hasn't answered me yet, though.
He's a prick. I don't like that guy. He's a tool. He should have been on my Flushmore, that damn Baker. He should have been on there.
Anyway, we'll see. Chris might be on the show if I get a hold of him, if he answers me. If not, I'm going to have somebody on the show tomorrow. Like I said, Matt Warren. Wednesday, Thursday will be a highlight show. Friday will be a Bills 49ers preview show. Both of those are going to be audio only. Again, for Joe, I'm Pat. Thank you very much. Talk to you tomorrow.